Hey, Tina.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be on Saturday, the 29th of May.
Okay.
Starts at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock p.m.
PVC Radio, 1420 AM.
7 a.m. Okay. John is doing that.
His name is Ron. Robert Kane, WC.
He's also
He's a member of the
all right. Robert King.
What's that? Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm just confirming the screen.
Okay. Let the call meeting in order. Roll call, please, Ms. Stamen.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ayers?
Here.
Mrs. Brackman? Here. Ms. Dixon?
Here.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Here.
Mrs. Kunkel? Dr. Wegley?
Here. Please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any questions regarding this evening's agenda? If not, I will take a motion.
I move the board approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Motion by Mrs. Dixon, second by Mr. Ayers to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I will need an approval of closed session today.
I move that the board hold a closed session as provided in section 21.51J of the Open Meetings Law to discuss the purchase or sale of particular real estate where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price the school district would have to pay or lower the price the district would receive for the property.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hoskins, second by Mr. Ayers, that the board hold a closed session as provided in section 21.51J of the Open Meetings Law to discuss a purchase or sale of particular real estate where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price the school district would have to pay or lower the price the district would receive for the property. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Stevens.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ayers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brackman?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Yes.
Dr. Wegley?
Yes. Vision statement. It is the vision of the Pleasant Valley Community School District to provide the finest academic and extracurricular programs in the state. Not in some things, but in everything. Not for some students, but for all students. Welcome to our guests this evening. I think we have some recognition today. Before we do that, If there's anybody else here in the audience who would like to address the board regarding a non-agenda item, this would be your opportunity to do so. All right, seeing none, going to the board members, Ms. Anderson?
I just would want to recognize the district and the staff for the great, amazing work they've done for the past 18 months. And really, we've had a very crazy almost 3 years when you throw in the polar vortex. And, you know, kudos for Brian for leading the team, steady the course, like our mission says, for all students.
Thank you. Mr. Ayers?
I have nothing, thank you.
Ms. Hoskins?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Okay. Ms. Brockman?
Nothing, thank you.
Ms. Dixon?
I have nothing, thank you.
I'm catching you a little early, Ms. Kunkel, anything?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Dr. Lewis?
And you can come back to me.
Okay, with the recognition, okay. Mr. Zimmer?
I'm good this time.
Oh, really? Okay, great. Wonderful. All right. Mr. Plaisman?
I have nothing.
Okay. Ms. Damon?
There are updated personnel lists in your board folder.
Okay. And Mr. Strus?
Mike, are you doing the apprentice signings? I have nothing at this time, but I want to make sure Mike does the signings there.
Okay.
Are you doing that, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have some recognition today, and we will start with the apprenticeship signings, Mr. Zimmer. You want to please inform the board and the audience about that?
Yes, so it's been about a month or so ago, maybe a little bit more, I introduced the board to a new opportunity for our students referred to as a registered apprenticeship offered by the U.S. Department of Labor. And at that time, I gave the name of our first placement. Nick Hammis was placed with Eckhart Manufacturing, formerly Eagle Engineering. And Nick and his employer, Travis Turner, are here this evening. And I don't know if Mary Johnson is in the back or not. Well, anyway, I'd like to introduce the two of them. And Nick and Travis, if you'd like to just fill the board in on how that experience is going.
Sure. From the employer point of view, it's going great. This was exactly the type of opportunity we were looking to get involved with. And, you know, Nick has been a fantastic employee, right? Student to you, employee to us, and certainly represented PV extremely well from our point of view. The program is something, you know, the registered apprenticeship with the Department of Labor is a great add-on, but really just getting students involved earlier in the career path gives them a whole lot more information to make choices on, hey, this is for me, this isn't for me. I can say, you know, one of the first internships I had in college, I had 3 months of going, this is not what I want to do for a career, and was able to change course really cheaply and easily without, you know, some people don't get that opportunity until much later in life. So the earlier we get them involved, the better. And then with the registered apprenticeship program, most employers nowadays are doing some sort of tuition reimbursement, ourselves included. So you not only get them meaningful career path while still in high school, you know, full-time job when they get out of high school, easy to continue their education beyond, you know, an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and on with that career path. So that, from our point of view, this is exactly what we're looking to partner with, and I'm happy to do so.
Nick, do you want to kind of share how it's been going since?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity that was given me. It was something that I've always, you know, been passionate about, you know, welding, and being able to do that during school was like a big thing for me, especially since ever since, you know, freshman year, I've always felt like, you know, college is the only thing that I can possibly do in order to have a successful career, and now this has been handed upon me, and I'm just like really grateful for it because now I know that there's actually other options out there. So,
Nick, do you want to tell the board kind of your schedule when you go to school here and when you attend the registered apprenticeship? How does your time frame go?
yeah, so for me, I start out my day and I go first through fourth period, and then I'll leave school after fourth period and go to work and work from 12 to 4. And that's pretty much how my day goes every day. So.
Good.
Nick, can you share kind of what your day looks like from noon to 4 in terms of, is it training and learning, or besides welding, what does that look like for you?
So that was really the only training part, was like, the first day or two, just kind of making sure, everybody there making sure that I have the ability to weld competently so that I'm not putting out bad quality parts. But after that, it's pretty much just been, I'm producing parts for them that another employee would otherwise produce, but it's me that's doing it instead of them, so.
And what does your path look like after graduation?
So after graduation, I'm planning on staying with Eckhart. I'm not sure how long, at least for the next 5 to 10 years or so. But while I'm working there, I will be working on my associate's degree in applied science for welding, and then probably moving on to getting my bachelor's degree at St. Ambrose, maybe in business or something like that. But that's kind of what my plan is for now.
And Nick has completed a lot of the coursework already to get the basic welding certificate. I think you're getting pretty close to having that done, which is the first step towards the AS degree for welding. So that was a very important part of this, is that no matter what happens, Nick will have that certificate, that piece of paper, and this experience to go with him. So we're just so thankful that Eckhart has agreed to partner with that, and we're looking to look at many other businesses that might want to participate. They were already betting my ear about the CNC machining, so stay tuned on the rollout on Friday. We'll be.
Thanks for getting that plug in there, I didn't have to say.
Nick, I just want to say real quick on behalf of the district, we're very proud of you. I mean, you really kind of are a pioneer for us in this behalf. And Travis, on behalf of Eckhart, thank you for taking that leap and letting him come on board. We hope this is a partnership not just with you, but with others, and it provides our students with another opportunity beyond graduation. So we are very appreciative of this. And Nick, encourage your friends to keep doing this as well. So best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on behalf of the board, and good work. And thank you, Travis, for partnering with us so that we can have these opportunities for our students. Hopefully we'll have a lot more in the future. Great. We have another recognition as well, and it's for the flag essay winners. And so I guess Dr. Lucia may be doing that, right?
Yeah, thank
Great.
you. It is my honor to welcome our friends from the LeClaire American Legion here tonight under the leadership of Robert Brockhouse. And they are our partners every year in sponsoring an essay writing contest for our fifth graders. They write an essay on what does the American flag mean to me. And each year we, about March, we're busy reading essays to choose a winner. We select one winner from each building, and then among those, from those 5, an overall winner is selected. So this is a big deal because these kids submit essays. We have 400 plus essays submitted each year, and we have done this for well over a decade, haven't we, Mr. Brockhouse? And we're super proud of the good work and the writing that these kids do. And so in just a moment, Mr. Brockhouse is going to introduce his colleagues as well as the students. I just want to recognize our principals in the back row, Mr. Welch, Ms. Richardson, Mr. Cotton. Thank you for being here. They're here too because they're so proud of the good work that you do. And so I'm very grateful. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Brockhouse at this time. Well, while he's stepping forward, well, I'll save my little addendum until after we're finished, Mr. Brockhouse.
Thank you. Actually, this essay program, my records show it started in 1996. And there's been almost 7,000 students, fifth grade students, that have participated in this essay contest. I'm going to have my 2 Legion cohorts introduce themselves, tell where they've served. Stephen, you want to go first?
Stephen Matera, United States Marine Corps, 1983 to 2007. I spent the majority of my career at the Marine Barracks in Washington, D.C.
Retired Chief Petty Officer, U.S. Navy, Carl Kryling. I served on a number of different surface ships and then finished out my career riding four different submarines in the last half of my career of 23 years. And I migrated home here. I'm a transplant from Pennsylvania. Migrated home here with my wife and got involved with the American Legion, and it's been an uphill thing ever since, onward and upward.
And I was in the Army in 1954 through 1956, assigned to U.S. Army Alaska, with duty station at Fort Lewis, Washington. I'm going to have the students introduce themselves, and the principal and the teacher, if there's here, and your family. So Joy, I'm going to start with you. Come on up. You might want to put your mask.
Good evening. My name is Joy Dankwa.
And your teacher?
My teacher is Mr. Strobe.
And your principal?
Is Miss Gertson.
And who's your family back there?
My sister, Ola Dankwa, and my aunt. She was supposed to.
Thank you for being here. Okay, thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
You're next.
Hi, I'm Weston Libby, and my teacher is Miss Citrick. My principal did not make it, but he was Mr. Tony Hyatt. And my parents, my mom and my dad.
Thank you. Okay, and the person selected to read her essay is Fiona Triber. Fiona, would you come forward, please? You gotta push your mic. Introduce your parents, your teacher, your principal, anybody you want to.
Thank you. My name is Fiona Triber, and my parents are sitting back here, Liz Triber and Brad Triber. My teacher and principal are also here, Mr. Welch and Mrs. Klein as well. Do you want me to read?
Sure, read it loud and clear, and because I'm hard of hearing. Okay.
Okay, got it. The big blue sea speckled with white stars, rushing red and white stripes. Our flag is a big symbol for America. It can bring on many different things: sacrifice, patriotism, and hope. My grandfather fought for this country. So did his father and his father's father. They all fought in wars for me and you. They made sacrifices for people in this country, and they fought for freedom. When I look at the flag, I think of sacrifice because people make sacrifices for this country and the citizens. The flag also represents patriotism. When I see our flag, I feel so proud to stand with it. An example of this would be during the Olympics, when I see France's flag and Brazil's, and I look over and see ours, the American flag. I feel so proud to be an American. When the flag is raised and the national anthem is played, I take pride in my country's name because of the strong men and women who stand up against racial injustices and gender inequalities, or any inequalities of that matter. I am proud of my country because of those who stand up for what is right. Finally, when I think of the flag, I think of hope. Hope for a new beginning. When immigrants come into this country, they hope for a better life, to leave their past behind them. I hope for a better life for them, a new beginning. When everything is looking down, the flag and its people in this country bring hope that everything will be okay. Everyone thinks of the flag differently. Everyone looks at America differently. Everyone's experience in this country is different, but one thing I'm certain of is that if we keep together and stay strong, the flag will be able to bring us together. Thank you.
I am so proud of all of these students, and I'm proud of the teachers, the principals, parents, the school board, anybody else I haven't mentioned. I'm so proud of them. But I'd like to ask Dr. Wadley and Mr. Strues to come forward, please. Gentlemen, on behalf of the American Legion Buffalo Bill Post 347, we are so grateful
Thank you so
for
much.
what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Brockhouse, thank you. And I would like to get a picture of the three of you if I could before you leave tonight. I also, and Ms. Citrick and Mrs. Klein, I didn't recognize you with your face covering. Thank you for being here. If you didn't have a chance to go to each of the flag ceremonies and get to hear these other wonderful essays, Fiona's as well, and the other four as well, they're going to be on the radio. We have a LeClaire American Legion member, Mr. Robert Kane, who has so kindly recorded each of the Flag Day essays and is going to put them on WOC on a radio program Saturday, the 29th of May at 7 a.m. So get out your pencil and make sure you make a note because you won't want to miss it. 14:20 a.m. WOC. And again, thank you all. This is a great evening. Thank you.
And Bob, before we take pictures, why don't you introduce the individual? You have your guest with you this night too, who's always with you on your side. Would you introduce your wife? Because she's always with you.
My wife Carol is in the back room, and she prefers to stay back there or stay seated. So.
Bob, Carl, and Stephen, on behalf of the district, thank you for what you guys do. This is an amazing ceremony we have at all of our schools every single year, and your commitment and teaching our students about the flag etiquette, about what our flag means to us is so important. That's why we continue to do this. As you said, thanks to our teachers, we have 100% participation every year, and the essays are phenomenal. Kids, you are role models for what you write for all of us every single day. We're so proud of you. Great work, and thank you to the Legion for everything they do, because it's just not this. They also are at our graduation ceremonies. They have a Memorial Day service for us. They help us with our flags every year during football season, so appreciative of their partnership with us and what they do. So, gentlemen, thank you for all you do and also your years of service for our league.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Would you honor me with a photograph?
We'll break your camera.
Oh, no.
You want the students in there too?
Sure.
Yeah,
Let's have the
let's do the
students in there too.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
For those who haven't been to the high school, there's a nice, right past the entrance, there's a little nice sort of tribute to our military people in this, our military veterans. And there's a wonderful picture, a huge picture of Mr. Brockhouse, and it's just a nice, small little indebted gratitude we can give to you because you've been so instrumental in a lot of our school events here. So if you ever get a chance, you should walk in there and see it. It's a wonderful tribute. And he makes a very nice picture, a nice portrait.
And I'd say, if any of you ever know on behalf of in our community, anyone who went to Pleasant Valley who's a graduate and is in the service, please let us know because we'll make sure we get their picture on our board there as well, so information. So if you ever hear someone in our community that's not on the recognition board, get their name to us and we'll reach out to them. So, thank you.
Well, we're going to move on to the regular part of our meeting. If you want to stay for the regular meeting, you can, but this will be the opportunity for you to leave if you came here for the recognition.
Thank you for the invitation, which we'll decline.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, moving on. On the consent agenda, are there any questions on today's consent agenda? If not, I will take a motion.
Before we, I just want to make a comment on the consent agenda, and this is just kudos. One of the students I know the situation, and I am just amazed at the collaboration between Bettendorf and PV on these open enrollment issues, because I was a constituent reached out to me with it was a pretty compelling story with the set of circumstances where she had missed the deadline for her grandson that she was a guardian for. And between Brian and I'm not saying any special favors were called in because they weren't at all. It was just the collaboration between Bettendorf and PD and doing what's right for all students. And I know when I talked to Mr. Struess, he mentioned you've had it with North Scott, and it's kind of the behind the scenes that you don't really see that.
Yeah.
I guess I just want to commend the administration, both you and Bettendorf.
Thank you.
But I'll move that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Wonderful.
Second?
So, motion by Ms. Dixon, second by Ms. Brockman to approve this evening's consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of bills. General fund.
I move that general fund warrants be issued in the total amount of $103,277.72 in payment of invoices presented.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hoskins, second by Ms. Kunkel, that the general fund warrants be issued and payment invoices presented. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nutrition fund.
I move that nutrition fund warrants be issued in a total amount of $19,602.26 in payment of invoices presented.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Ayers, second by Ms. Brockman, that the nutrition fund warrants be issued and the payment invoices presented. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Elementary Junior High Activity Fund.
I move that elementary junior high activity fund warrants be issued in the total amount of $3,530.37 and payment of invoices presented.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Dixon, second by Mr. Ayers, that the elementary junior high activity fund warrants be issued and the payment of invoices presented. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? High School Activity Fund.
I move that the high school activity fund warrants be issued in a total amount of $32,198.68 in payment of invoices presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ayers, second by Ms. Anderson, that the high school activity fund warrants be issued and the payment of invoices presented. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Capital Projects Fund.
I move that capital projects on warrants be issued in the total amount of $11,800 in payment of invoices presented.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Dixon, second by Ms. Hoskins, that the Capital Projects Fund warrants be issued and payment of invoices presented. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Capital Fund.
I move that couple fund warrants be issued in the total amount of $1,716 in payment of invoices presented.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Brockman, second by Ms. Dixon, that the Capital Fund warrants be issued and the payment of invoices presented. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Debt Service Fund.
I move the debt service fund warrants be issued in the total amount of $2,028,575 in payment of invoices presented.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Kunkel, second by Ms. Brockman, that the Debt Service Fund warrants be issued and the payment of invoices presented. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Internal Service Fund.
I move that general service fund warrants 6235 through 6236 be issued in the total amount of $15,972.31 in payment of invoices presented.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hoskins, second by Ms. Dixon, that the Internal Service Fund warrants be issued, warrants 6235 through 6236 be issued and the payment of invoices presented. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And finally, Trust Fund.
I move that trust fund warrants be issued in the total amount of $1,149.35 in payment of invoices presented.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Dixon, second by Mr. Ayers, that the Trust Fund warrants be issued and the payment of invoices presented. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, there is no old business. New business, we have the recommendation to, well, you know when you see Andrew here that we're going to be talking about food. So I'm excited to hear what kind of soda, pizza, and bread
Yes,
and
I know.
milk. So,
Same thing every year, but different vendors this year.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Yes, so we had two companies bid on our bread bid, Alpha and Panna Gold. Panna Gold was cheaper by $2,000, so I recommend Panna Gold for the 21-22 school year. Milk bids, we had Anderson Erickson and Prairie Farms, and Anderson Erickson was lower by $9,000, so I recommend Anderson Erickson for the 21-22 school year. For pizza, we only had 3 bidders this year. Little Caesars, Happy Joe's, and Papa John's. Little Caesars and Papa John's bid $6.50 with Happy Joe's bidding $9.99. I would recommend all of them for delivery and choice and service for the students for the 21-22 school year. Domino's declined to bid. I believe it was a staffing shortage. The beverage bid, Pepsi and Coca-Cola both bid this year. Coca-Cola was the lowest submitted bid by $3,000, so I recommend Coca-Cola for the 21-22 school year. Our distributor bid, our school district is with other, there's a total of 6 school districts that we formed the Eastern Iowa School Co-op in 2017. We did this to increase our buying power because this is our prime vendor where our large bills come from our food service department. So this is the last year that we were able to roll over, so I recommend that we continue with wholesale for the 21-22 school year, and then next year we would bid out for the 23 school year. Are there any questions on those?
What did you mean by that you said that we can roll over this year, but next year we have to send it out?
Coal, because that's a prime vendor, so it takes a lot of work to send that bid out. The last time we sent it out, we got 4 bidders, which is the highest we've ever gotten, and especially with the economy and everything, and it's just a good thing that we're able to roll over because we did get really very good prices for that. The state does have an AEA consortium, and our prices were better than their prices. So we do our homework on that, but it is a lot of work for our districts to go through that.
Thank you.
Andrew, what's the length of that rollover? Is it just 2 years?
3 with, I think, was it 2-year rollovers or 1-year rollover? So yeah, this would be their last one, and then we would hopefully be able to do the 3 again. So, and then with the rollovers. 1 rollover, I think is what it is. They keep changing our procurement guidelines, so I'm not sure if that's totally accurate, but I believe so. But I know we have to go out next year. Are there any questions on this?
Are we working with any suppliers that are different than we have in the past?
So I have never had as a beverage bid Coca-Cola, just in my own experience through North Scott and Pleasant Valley. Bettendorf has them right now, and they're not having any service issues, and there was a lot of choice. The vending and everything stays the same. This is just the food service. This is just what we're able to sell. Pretty much at the junior high, we only can sell 100% juice and water. The high school has more choices, but they're all within smart snack guidelines.
Okay. And what about the milk? Have we worked with Anderson Erickson?
I have worked with Anderson Erickson in the past. I'm not sure, so this will be my 8th year next year. I'm sure Pleasant Valley at some time has worked with them. We own all of our milk coolers throughout the district, so this is just them putting the milk on the truck and supplying and delivering it to us.
Okay.
So
And Prairie Farms was our supplier, right?
Prairie Farms has been our supplier for a very long time.
Okay. I was surprised at the difference there.
Yeah, there was a difference. And I had to go off for the estimations on these. I had to go off the 18-19 school year because that was the last year that we actually had a full operation of business for our department. So.
I had a question about the pizza bid.
Yes.
So when it sounds like bids are mailed out. Do you mail it to non-chain kind of our community pizza?
So we have dealt with some, we do have like a large volume when we get delivery. So in the elementary, Domino's was the only one that could service our elementaries because they're all different locations, and they deliver 2 different times to all elementaries. At the high school and junior high, I mean, they're delivering, they're feeding 1,000 kids at high school or more when you consider extra entrees. So we've tried, but
just with that large volume.
This is, yeah, and especially with the staffing, it's been interesting. You just want people to deliver when they're supposed to, and with all businesses, and get our products too, because we have seen product outages, especially in paper products. Our main, like our commodities is from Tyson, and they're seeing staff shortages, so we have been seeing shortages, which we've been able to sub with different products, but we like to maintain our same consistency.
And Andrew, you're saying staffing, that's staffing at the restaurant, correct?
Restaurants for the pizza bids, it would be for a distributor bid, it would be like Tyson is the Tyson plant, manufacturing plant. Coal wholesale would be all the products because of the high demand of paper products and glove usage. We have seen a lot of shortages.
Mm-hmm. So how have these bids compared to previous years?
They're all very good. Pizza didn't change. The beverage bid came in. That's one we usually roll over for 3 years too, and so that was very competitive. The bread bid, I don't think there wasn't any really difference on that. Milk was I think maybe a penny more per carton, but not bad, not where it could have been, so.
So we're not seeing a huge, large increase?
The distributor bid, I would imagine, the next time we go out for bid, that will be a lot bigger, or a lot higher pricing. But possibly not, because we are consistent, we're usually a consistent customer, except for the past 2 years.
Not Mike? Oh, go ahead.
What do you think the prices are gonna be like for next year? Do you think you're gonna have to raise the lunch prices at all?
So we have not had to raise lunch prices since they took off the, guidelines where we had to raise them every year. It sounds like we're still getting guidance, but it sounds like we will be going to SSO. Right now, we're running off the summer feeding program with the National School Lunch Program guidelines. Next year, through 12/31/21, it was on a webinar earlier today that it's going to be called SSO, so seamless summer option through December, which, if I'm understanding correctly, you would still be free meals for the students.
Oh, okay, through the end of the year.
Through the end of the year. So. But we'll wait on kind of more guidance and clarification for that, but that is what we have been informed.
I do have a question on that, because we talked about it briefly several meetings ago, but the government magically says that when a child turns 18, they no longer get free food. So how do we handle that? And I think we talked about it and then we didn't.
They have a guideline 0 to 18. Obviously, you're not going to feed a baby, like a 0,
right?
But 18, so yes, we still feed them when they're in actual school. Yes, and if they were on online school, we would feed them too. So, yep.
Andrew, with this going through December still, will we send out forms for free and reduced at all in the fall, or wait till January?
No, we will, because it's part of the district's funding for what they get reimbursed for. It's also related to driver's ed, activity fees, registration fees, I think band. There's a couple things maybe that they don't make them pay for. Yep. So, yes, we would still do that because we want to keep consistent our free and reduced rate, because a lot of programs, and grants are all based on that information.
Since we went to full-time students in February, have you seen the amount of students using the food service about the same as previous years, or has there been a change?
I think we're seeing kids that we haven't normally seen participate because it is free. So if we have the kids or the parents on board are, thinking that they get back their lunch, especially in elementary, for cheaper than $2.45, they're going to send them. And I think we do have more students trying lunch than they have been before, which is great. We like to see new faces and we like to feed all kids. That's our job. It's helped financially, our department being on this program, because we were suffering when it was, obviously we weren't doing well financially, when it was half the kids, half the time. I still have the full staff. I try not to replace staff when they retired and until obviously we are now, because we're serving more children. So, except for on Fridays, because it is early out still in the high school, but that's okay. It's a better day for them to catch up.
Okay. Any other questions from the board to Andrew?
But thank you for your support also for this year. It's been interesting for everyone, but I appreciate your support for everything that we have accomplished.
We have to take, if there's no more questions, we have to take a separate motion for each of these different bids. So if somebody wants to start it off.
I move the board accept the bread products bid submitted by Panel Gold Company for the 2021-22 school year.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Dixon, second by Ms. Kunkel, the board accept the bread products bid submitted by Pan O Gold Company for the 2021-2022 school year. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Daniel.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ayers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Yes.
Mrs. Kunkel?
Yes.
Dr. Wardley?
Yes. I'll take the next motion regarding the milk products.
I move the board accept the low milk products bid submitted by Anderson Erickson for the 2021-22 school year.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Kunkel, second by Ms. Hoskins, that the board accept the low milk products bid submitted by Anderson Erickson for the 2021-2022 school year. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Damon.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ayers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Yes.
Mrs. Kunkel?
Yes.
Dr. Wardley?
Yes. The pizza bid.
I move the board accept the low pizza bid submitted by Little Caesars, Happy Joe's, and Papa John's for the 2021-22 school year.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ayers, second by Ms. Dixon, that the board accept the low pizza bid submitted by Little Caesars, Happy Joe's, and Papa John's for the 2021-2022 school year. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Damon?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ayers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Yes.
Mrs. Kunkel?
Yes.
Dr. Wardley?
Yes. And then the soda products.
I move the board award Coca-Cola the beverage bid for the 2021-22 school year.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Brockman, second by Mr. Ayers, that the board award Coca-Cola the beverage bid, it's a low beverage bid for the 2021-2022 school year. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Damon?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ayers? Mrs. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Yes.
Mrs. Kunkel?
Yes.
Dr. Wardley?
Yes. And finally, the distributor bid.
I move the board accept the distributor bid of coal wholesale for the 2021-22 school year.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ayers, second by Ms. Brockman, that the board accept the distributor bid of coal wholesale for the 2021-2022 school year. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Damon?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ayers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Yes.
Mrs. Kunkel?
Yes.
Dr. Wardley?
Yes.
Okay, our next item on the new business is going to be the recommendation to accept Bridgeview Elementary partial roof replacements project. Mr. Struess?
Yeah, Leland Zink is here tonight to kind of walk through this with you and kind of share some updates on this Bridgeview Elementary partial roof project, on what it contains, the area that we're looking at redoing, and the reason why we're moving forward with it now instead of waiting. So I'll turn it over to Leland to kind of give you some introductions.
Okay. And then if anybody knows anything about construction right now, it's all over the board. So our budgets are a little off. That's why the numbers are off. That's probably the bad news. There was a little good news that I'll share with you too, though, that actually lowered the cost back down a little bit.
Okay.
So we're closer to our budget. So we actually, with all the roofing, especially when you get out in the Cedar Rapids area, almost every school district out in Cedar Rapids is replacing roofs this year or been in the process because they got hit by that storm a lot worse than we did. So we only ended up getting one bidder for this roof. But it was something we figured we had to do. There's areas of the kindergarten room that are leaking, and above the media center, it's actually ponding water. So there's areas of the roof that have 3 or 4 inches of water. So it's like, do we hold off? It's not leaking. But can we afford to actually wait? That's the big question mark. And if we do wait, is it still going to be the same price next year, or is it going to be worse? Or maybe it'll go down? That's the big question nobody knows. So we ended up only getting one bid for the project. We estimated it was the budget was going to be about $280,000. We came in at $380,000. But they actually found, after they reviewed it, because the pricing, the numbers were off, they actually found a mistake on the actual drawings. It was just, it said 1/4 inch and it was supposed to be 1/8 inch. So they're going to offer us a deduct that'll be about $50,000. It'll take us down to $332,000 instead. So that's a huge savings for us and gets us closer to budget. So then really the big question was, do we take the chance and put it off, or do we do it now? But our other problem that we do have is a lot of the suppliers are telling the vendors and the contractors materials available, and then sometimes it might not be available. So we're hoping to have it done by the start of school year, but there's still a small chance that they might not get the supplies. A great example would be the van that we've been talking about. I'm still waiting for it. It actually shipped. They don't know where it shipped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were supposed to ship to the dealer like 2-3 weeks ago and never arrived. So they're assuming it's on Ford's lot at one of the plants, just waiting for a chip to be put in it.
They're probably waiting for a truck driver.
They could be waiting for a truck driver too.
Because that's our biggest problem at the company I work for. We have supplies, we can't get them out the
Can't
door.
get them out the door.
Because we don't have enough drivers. Or they get to a cross dock, no driver to carry it further. So, we want to get a CDL license.
Where was this at originally in our capital project? How far out was it?
It was actually coming up in our project now with a couple other roofs.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, we're right on time when we wanted to go.
Oh, we're not
It would-
making it any earlier than?
No. And it's just, the question we talked about would be with the architects and the company looking at in a year from now, where will prices be also? You know, with inflation, what is that gonna do? Our construction costs still gonna be high, so kind of weighing all that out, we felt let's just continue to move forward and get this completed.
They've been estimating that construction costs will stay up for 2 years. But who knows if those are good estimates? But, you know, nobody knows.
And this company, if you look at the company and here, this is the same one that did our high school roof just here, you know, beginning of the school year or over the summer. Great work. We've been very pleased. They work well with us. So again, even though it's the only bid, we feel comfortable with the company. We know what they do and have worked well with us.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in the last 2 years in this whole Bedford have had to have their roofs replaced as well because of hail damage, etc. Where does that fall into these types of building products? Do you ever have an insurance adjuster take a look and see if any of these problems are created by some of the damage from storms? And does insurance come in and help pay for some of this, or how does that look? Because a lot of residential roofs
Unfortunately, none of this is storm related. None of this actually is storm related. It's actually just, it's time, is what it is. It's, in fact, it's beyond its time. It's a 20 to 30 year roof that's probably about 40 years old, part of it. Half of that project is that part.
And so this project would be for the replacement of the full roof, or just those areas that you...
Just those 2 sections. Yeah, roofs are expensive.
And they are going to be having it done by what date?
Hoping by the 23rd of August. Right,
Assuming
the day
supplies.
before school, correct.
So what would be the backup plan if it's not done by then? Would we have them continue to do the work during the school year? Because that can be fairly disruptive.
It depends on where they're at in the project. You know, can they do it in the evening once the kids are gone? You know, what does it look like? When you look at the area, it's right over the top of the library, and then also kind of the hallway and by the main office area and the restroom. So above the kindergarten classrooms, like where it is there also.
Yep.
That's kind of the section. So we have to just assess how much time is it on weekends.
Right.
You know, what can they do?
And you work with them enough where they're willing to make concessions so that the students' educational learning won't be disrupted the least as possible.
We know we can't do that. That part we know we can't do. So if we need to postpone half the project or something, slide it, they're willing to work with us. They're actually our best roofing contractor that we work with.
Okay.
And they're local.
Great. Any other questions? Then I will go into public hearing. Correct. All right, public hearing. Does anybody have any comments regarding the partial roof replacements for the Bridgeview Elementary School? Seeing none, go out of public hearing, and I will take a motion.
I move that the board approve the bid from Jim Geist Commercial Roofing Inc. for the base bid amount of $380,235 and the unit price bid amounts as presented for the Bridgeway Elementary Roof Partial Replacement Project.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Dixon, second by Mr. Ayers, that the board approve the bid from Jim DC Commercial Roofing Incorporated for the base bid amount of $380,235 and the unit price bid amounts as presented for the Bridgeview Elementary Roof Partial Replacement Project. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Banner.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ayers?
Yes.
Mrs. Blackman?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Yes.
Mrs. Kunkel?
Yes.
Dr. Waldron?
Yes. Although, as Leland mentioned, it's going to be about $50,000 less than that number.
Correct.
If we get what we're hoping for. Okay.
Can I ask you even really quick about, I always ask you about the high school pool.
Yes.
I like that project. So with the repairs, around the lights and stuff, was that all, where that wall was kind of caving in, is that all taken care of and it's all filled up and,
Yes, that's all been taken care of.
okay, not having any problems with it anymore?
None so far.
Not having any?
None, so knock on wood. Yeah, so far so good.
Thank you.
Good.
How do they like the new platforms, by the way?
They love the new platforms. I don't even have a swimmer and I hear people talking about those platforms, how awesome they are. That was an excellent purchase.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a resolution for purchase of athletic protective equipment. We've seen this before, and I think this is Mr. Klingsmith.
Yeah, this is a normal thing that we do near the end of the fiscal year each year for the past several years. Back in 2016, the Iowa Auditor's Office had said that, well, there were some school districts that were paying for athletic protective equipment out of the general fund, and some that were paying for it out of the activities fund. And the state auditor's office in 2016 said that it needed to come out of the activities fund. Well, in the 2017 Iowa legislative session, they passed this House File 564, which basically said that school districts were allowed, if the board made a resolution, to make a transfer of money from the general fund into the activities fund to pay for the athletic protective equipment. And it had long been the practice here at Pleasant Valley and a lot of other school districts to pay for athletic equipment, protective athletic equipment, out of the general fund. So we decided that it made sense to, since we had always done it that way, to continue to make this transfer from the general fund into the activities fund to pay for the athletic protective equipment. The equipment that pays for is, for example, baseball and softball, like catcher's gear, their things that protects their chest protector, and their masks and stuff. And then, of course, in football, the helmets and shoulder pads and things like that are the types of equipment that we're talking about. So again, this is a normal procedure we've been doing ever since this House File 564 went into existence back in 2016-17 fiscal year. So I'll take any questions if anybody has any questions. So the amount of it for this year is $22,272.58 is how much has been spent in the last year on athletic protective equipment.
Are there any questions at all? Well, as you know, with School Board Finance 101, we can't spend things unless they give it authorization. We can't transfer things unless they give us authorization. So in 2017, they gave us authorization to do this. Unlike all other types of accounting, School Board Finance is different, and this is an example of that. So I will take a motion.
I move the board approve the transfer of $22,272.58 from the general fund to the student activity fund for the purchase of athletic protective equipment as specified in 2017 House File 564.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hoskins, seconded by Mr. Ayers, that the board approve the transfer of $22,272.58 from the general fund to the student activity fund for the purchase of athletic protective equipment as specified in 2017 House File 564. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Damon.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ayers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Yes.
Mrs. Kunkel?
Yes.
Dr. Lovelace?
Yes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a monthly financial report. Mr. Greensmith?
So at the end of April here on the monthly financials, I don't have anything that stood out to me as unusual compared to prior years, except of course for the couple of things that I've been pointing out throughout this fiscal year. In the nutrition fund, of course, food sales are down 73.3% from where they were at this time a year ago because of not charging students for the basic lunch. However, that's being more than made up by the federal reimbursement. You can see our federal reimbursement at the end of April is actually up 199.2% from where it was a year ago at this time. So nutrition fund, that's the thing that kind of stands out there. And then the other fund would be our activities fund. You can see in our student activities funds, revenues are down 35% from a year ago, but expenses are down 29.6% from a year ago. But our overall fund balance in the activities fund is still up by about $15,000 from where it was at the end of April a year ago. So our fund balance hasn't really gone down. It's just both our revenue and expenses are down in the activities funds. So that's all I had that stood out to me as unusual for the April monthly financials. Take any questions if there's any questions.
But none of that is really unusual. It's just unusual when you compare it to last year, but it's more usual compared to this year, right?
It's unusual compared to, yeah, normal non-COVID
Right.
type year, but not, yeah, for this year, it's, right.
And Deanne Kramer's just being very cautious on what she's spending, hotel rooms and state things like that, so knowing we have a lot of revenue coming in, she's being very cautious to keep that balance available and not have to transfer any funds. But we do have the capability, we need to, we can take general fund dollars again and put them into student activity if we need to, but we're trying not to do that if we don't have to.
Any other questions on the monthly financials? Right. I think I've asked you this before, and I know that you don't have it on our sheets, but are you looking at 2019 as well, just for comparison, as well? Because this last
Yes.
year, when you compare it a year ago, obviously there's been so many issues going on that it's not a good comparison. So I'm
Right.
assuming that you're spot checking all these with even a year prior,
Yes.
just to make sure that there's no.
Yes, and hopefully next year, a lot of things can return closer to normal, and then we definitely would want to compare to pre-COVID times then.
Okay. All right, well, I will take a motion then.
I move the board accept the monthly financial report for April as presented.
Second?
Motion, Mr. Ayers, second by Ms. Brockman, that the board accept the monthly financial reports for April as presented. Roll call vote, please, Ms. Damon.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Ayers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brockman? Yes. Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoskins? Yes. Mrs. Kunkel?
Yes.
Dr. Wardlaw?
Yes. Okay, now we are going into our closed session. So, thank you for our guests for coming, but we are going to head into a closed session.
I wanted to